76,
Asylum.
and 76, I've been describing Fallout 4 so much and the changes that they made for Fallout 4 because 76, again, the best way to describe it is it's Fallout 4 but online. So most of the same systems are in place. There's a few things that had to change to accommodate multiplayer. The biggest one is the VATS system, VATS. In the Fallout games, there's essentially a system where you can essentially, depending on the game, either freeze or slow down time, and then your character would aim in at the characters around them, and you can actually spend AP action points to fire off shots at that specific enemy, and you could pick perks to increase your accuracy in there. So, for example, you can get perks to make your headshot accuracy better. You go into VATS, freeze time, or in Fallout 4, you slow time drastically, and you kind of can pick off your enemies. So if you're not a great shot, you can kind of RPG fire at these guys. That was kind of the RPG aspect of it. They had to change that for Fallout 76. So now you activate VATS. It doesn't slow down time, but you kind of lock onto that character, and you can fire on a little. Even if you're not aiming at them, you still kind of lock on to that character. So you still got a percent chance. You can still aim at certain body parts, but you just aren't going to slow down time. So it's more of an on-the-go type thing versus the other games where you would completely freeze time. And that's a change I understand why they made it. You can't freeze time for an entire server. And personally, from what I see from it, I kind of like the way I didn't think they'd be able to pull it off too well, but seeing how they did it, it makes sense. So you kind of just lock on the character, and then even if you're not aiming directly at them, you're still shooting them.
Yeah.
And again,
slowing it down a little bit.
Yeah, and it's still not a guaranteed shot. The closer you are, the better you'll be at it, and the higher if you have certain perks to make you more accurate, the better you'll be at it. So you may lock onto somebody and only have a 12% chance to shoot them. So you gotta decide what to do with that.
Do they make a lot of updates though? Because when it comes out, I'm sure they're going to be tweaking it a little bit because they're going to find. People testing it can only catch so much of it. Even when it comes out, other people test it. But when players start playing it, they find all the little glitches and bugs and stuff like that. So as long as they keep updating it and tweaking it a little bit.
Well, and that's actually going to bring us to the next topic. We're actually almost at the end of the topics here. We're making pretty good time. Okay. But that's actually going to bring us to the next concerns that I have. And then before that, we'll go on to the testing thing. They're actually going to have a beta. I know I mentioned that before. Xbox is getting theirs. I forgot when. There is a private test, I think, going on soon. So they're actually randomly inviting people. I need to actually check my email to see if I got one of the codes for it. But they're going to be inviting random people to go ahead and start the beta now. There is going to be an open beta for everybody. And the way they've described how it's going to work is they're basically going to invite people in. Everybody hops on. They play it. You try to break the damn thing. Apparently, as they find problems, they're going to shut down the servers. Like the way they described it is the servers are only going to be open 4 to 8 hours at a time. They're going to take whatever problems they found from that time, fix them right then and there, and then open it back up. So the server's only going to be open for a few hours every day as they test this. And from what we're hearing is they're going to do that from the time they start the beta, which is October 31st for everybody else. Xbox players a bit before that. They're going to do it from that time to the time it releases, which is 2 weeks later on November 14th. And the kicker is, this is the first time I've seen this in a beta, the character you make in your beta, you can keep that progress when the game releases.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like a little perk for helping out the development of the game.
Exactly. Now, I'm not sure how the guys that are getting their access codes early, because there's going to be, they're going to, like I said, start sending out codes for a select few people to start playing it here soonish. We might as well just say now. They won't be able to stream or anything like that. They're going to have an NDA, so they won't be able to, reveal anything. I'm not sure if they get to keep progress or not, but they are going to start testing it here soon. But when it comes to the potential glitches I'm worried about, one of the first ones is unbalance. And let me take a sip of coffee. I've been talking a lot.
Okay.
That's good stuff. Unbalance. So, let me like this too. So I talk a lot during my streams, and when I'm doing stuff like this, I don't talk nearly that much during the day or at work. So I do most of my talking in this time period.
Brother.
But yeah, so unbalanced. So the entire game, you're supposed to be able to play the entire game from start to finish, as far as the quests go, solo. Now, some people said they had some hard times during the beta that they were invited to, taking on some of the higher level characters. I don't think anybody said there was anything too difficult, but they definitely said it was easier to do a lot of these areas when they had somebody else with them. Now, personally, that was a complaint that I thought was really kind of unfounded as far as an MMO or multiplayer game goes, because no matter what, if you've got multiple people with you, anything's like anything's going to be easier.
Oh,
Especially
definitely. Yeah.
especially for a game to where you can complete it, solo. It's obviously it's going to be easier to do the more challenging parts with at least one other person with you. So that was a strange argument that I thought, and I think that's when people kind of are kind of taken out of context. I mean, it's an MMO, so I mean, any extra help you got is gonna help. But as long as you can continue the entire game, at least the main game that's meant to be done solo without any serious issues, then I'm completely fine with that. Obviously,
Sure.
any help you got additionally is going to make it a little bit easier. That's an argument that I thought was just out of left field and should really just be obvious. Yeah, if you got help, it's going to be easier. It
Yeah,
is what it
definitely.
is. But I am worried about some areas being unbalanced. Now, as far as unbalanced, I mean, are there going to be areas that are going to be literally impossible to do without somebody else? And by that, keep in mind, I'm not talking about events that are meant to be done with a group, because there's some events that are
You're
meant
talking
for
about
group
taking
play.
out characters, though. That's mainly what you're taking out. You're talking about fighting a high level character.
Yeah, like doing a story
Okay.
mission or doing like a mission that's meant to be done solo. If it's turns out to be impossible to do it solo or without a certain build, like certain stats or certain armor, then I
Mm-hmm.
might have an issue. I mean, you should be able to do everything, relatively or relatively everything. Like if you don't put any points in endurance, you shouldn't be shocked when you get killed by tripping over a rock. I mean, that's your own fault. If you're not wearing any armor,
Yeah.
and you have no
Exactly.
endurance, that's your own damn fault.
Yeah.
Um, but that is one thing I was worried about balance issues. As right now, I don't see anything other than that one complaint where people said it's easier to do stuff with more people. I thought that was just the weirdest argument, and it makes me wonder how many people actually have played stuff online as an MMO before. And this game does feel like an MMO from what I can tell. I mean, it's an MMO crafting survival game with a Fallout skin, so I've got MMO experience. So these things to me, I thought seemed like they'd be obvious things, but that's again why I wanted to get somebody else's opinion who hadn't played Fallout and who's used to playing multiplayer games. I mean, to me,
Mm-hmm.
that just seems like it's a weird argument that things are or are easier with somebody else with you. And
Yeah.
that's like a legitimate concern somebody brought up. Like, yeah, some of the higher level areas were a bit more difficult. It definitely feel like it'd be easier with somebody else there. Of course. I
Yes.
mean,
Exactly. I mean, that's a no brainer. It doesn't make any sense to me that somebody would ask something like that. Just well, I just find it some people they're used to playing single player games and that's all they like to do, and they can't play co op games or multi person games, and just because of that fact.
yeah, and it
But
is it is two different skill sets too. I mean, there is a certain skill set from just keeping everything in your mind when you're role playing or when
yeah,
you're doing stuff alone. You got a certain way of doing stuff. It is a whole other animal when you've got somebody else or squad you're playing with, especially when you have to coordinate things too.
mm-hmm.
And there is definitely going to be a bit of an emphasis on playing with people. Excuse me, because of the perk system. I know I kind of have to go back to explain it, but the perks you get in Fallout 76 are not going to be the traditional perks that you would normally get in a Fallout game, even in Fallout 4. You're actually going to have, every time you level up, you're going to get to pick, or I think it's every other level, maybe every level, but basically as you level up, you're going to get to choose from a pool of perk cards. What the cards are, they are going to have certain perks like, you take 25% less damage from radiation, or you take less radiation damage from drinking dirty water, or you can pick this kind of lock, or you get this much more melee. I mean, a lot of different perks you can kind of build up, and each card has got a number on it and a certain class that it goes for. So let's say you pick I think it's the Gladiator card. I think
Mm-hmm.
it increases your melee damage, and the basic card takes one strength. So to equip that card, you have to have at least 1 point in strength. What you're gonna be able to do is take these cards and mix and match them, and have all these different cards equipped to kind of do whatever mission you're wanting to do. And the charisma perk, which has traditionally been for like speech checks and things like that, where you would interact with
Mm-hmm.
NPCs, is instead going to affect the group you're in. So whatever you have in your charisma chart, those charisma perks will affect your entire group. So for example, if everybody has a
Ah.
perk, that card that makes you move 10% faster, if everyone's got that equipped, well, you're all going to be moving 40% faster.
Ah. That's a good way of doing it, though, too.
Yep, and these cards, you're supposed to be able to re-equip them whenever you want to. So technically, in the middle of a fight, you could completely re-equip your cards. But keep in mind, you also can't pause the game either. So if you're going to try and take that
Mm-hmm.
risk, you're going to be taking damage. But you can re-equip these whenever. So technically, you can make kind of a jack of all trades build, but you can only your max level is 50. So traditionally, your special stats could go up to level 10. They've increased that to level 15 for each one, but you can still only put in 50 points.
Mm-hmm. But
So
you could do if you got a group of 4, you can pick certain things that going up against a certain character or something. You say, I want speed, I want intelligence, I want whatever that combination is to go into battle.
well, depends. The only ones that affect other players are going to be those cards that fall under charisma, and those are, I mean,
Okay.
each stat has cards you can put in it. So I mean, if it's a strength card, you can only equip that to strength. So if you want stuff to affect the group, that's only charisma cards, and only those cards in that pool are going to affect us. So it's not going to be anything too unbalanced. And I'm sure they'll balance it as we go, but there are only those cards are going to affect the group. Anything else is going to
But
be yours.
in that group of charisma, are there different aspects like speed, agility, or some
Uh,
stalking,
I've
or
seen. I'm pretty sure I've seen speed. I've got to see what cards they are. We don't know what all the cards are
because
yet, but yeah, pretty much
then I was
anything
saying
under there
that
would affect
if you got
everybody.
4 people, one person can take speed, the other one can take charisma or
Yeah.
whatever those cards are. You can make a perfect build for the squad going into battle.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. I like
Yeah.
that.
And even if you play solo, I mean, they're still going to affect you as well. So it's not like
Yeah,
you're still going to be,
yeah,
out one entire tree. They're still going to affect you. And there's every school has got unique stuff in it, or every class has got unique stuff in it. So it's still
okay,
going to be worth it to do it even in single player. But that is mainly meant for the group, or is kind of how you help out your group as well.
awesome.
But the unbalanced errors, potentially unbalanced errors, was one thing I was kind of worried about. Um, the other thing, and this ties into the beta, is potential lag and latency. Now, the gameplay we saw coming out of the West Virginia event, um, they admitted this up front that they had optimized most of the map yet. They had really mainly optimized the starting area. So the further
Hmm.
out these guys got from the starting area, the more and more laggy it became. I know they're still going to be working on that, and they again admitted that they had only optimized that beginning area. They hadn't expected people to go too far from the opening area,
Hmm.
but lag and latency in general in any online game is always a concern. And especially with a game that's spaced with quests and that kind of thing, I'm wondering how lag and latency and potentially dropping out is going to affect the game, period. I mean, that's just
Yeah,
one thing you got to worry about in any game. I mean, take Ark.
exactly.
When I used to play Ark on the official servers, which I really had to been a masochist to do it, but I used to
Like,
play Ark exclusively on the official servers. That was a nightmare. It was a totally different experience when I played on the private server we own now. But
yeah.
that, I mean, there
Well, it
were,
also goes down to, other people in your group's internet service too. That you're going to find somebody that gets 60 frames per second. Somebody's going to get only 30. It's, it's not. I don't always blame it on the game itself. You can in certain aspects, but then you can't in other ones. You got to blame, somebody else's internet service.
yeah, and that'll affect
You know,
their stuff as well. I mean, if
yeah,
you're relying on them in a squad for like a group event, it could, yeah, obviously potentially be a problem if their internet's really unstable. They keep dropping in and out. Then I have to turn back around and think, well, we got those same warriors in any other multiplayer game too, so this isn't necessarily something that is unique to Fallout 4. If anything, I'm just worried about, is it actually going to be optimized, you know, or that is it actually going to be optimized basically? Is it going to be laggy all the time, anything like that? And that is again what the beta is going to be helping to fix. And again, they're going to have
hmm,
updates, they're going to have quick fixes. So that's one that I'm worried about, but it's more in the back of my mind because again, that just falls into the everyday. MMO multiplayer game launch, that's always going to be a concern. So that's not really one that's specific for this game. So it's one that I'm worried about, but not necessarily one that I am attributing to this being, a Fallout game.
Yeah, it's not
Um,
a game breaker for you.
Now, one that I am worried about is going to be getting stuck inside stuff and the fast travel system. And I'll tell you why I combine these two um, for a reason. So basically, you can fast travel in the game. You can fast travel to any of your squad members for free. You can fast travel you can fast travel to Vault 76 for free. And I think you can fast travel to your camp, but I got to double check. You can fast travel anywhere, but it costs caps for most places. The free ones are Vault 76, the beginning area, and any of your squad members. Those are for free. Anywhere else, the farther are you away you are, the more it's going to cost you to fast travel there. Now, I say this as a worry, and I haven't seen this yet, but traditionally in a Fallout game, you can't fast travel from indoors or to indoors. You only fast travel, when you're in the open world portion, when you're
Mm-hmm.
outside. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if there's any actual spaces you load into, like a basement of a house or something like that. So far, from what I've seen, it's all been open. So in theory, you should be able to fast travel from anywhere. And
So I guess what is the fast travel for? I guess I could see it if. All right, you're saying if you're playing a game and then your buddy joins an hour later,
mhm.
and he spawns in at the camp then he can fast travel to you guys.
Yeah, and you can
But
play
where would
together.
you use where would you be used? I guess for just a single guy.
Well, I mean, imagine wanting to go back to town to turn in a quest or something,
Oh,
or
okay,
wanting to
gotcha.
go somewhere to, let's say, there's a certain resource you want to get in, a town that's literally across the map. Are you going to want to actually hoof it over there, or you just
Okay,
want to kind of want
gotcha,
to fast travel? Now,
gotcha.
the reason I'm
So,
worried about this is because traditionally in Fallout games, you can't fast travel when you're indoors. So far, I haven't seen any indoor places that you load into a whole different space when you go there. But if there are, you usually can't fast travel out of them. And I'm wondering how getting stuck might work. I played, I think just about every MMO I've ever played. Um, I've gotten stuck somewhere, like behind a rock or underneath something, or the game glitched.
hmm
So, is it going to let you fast travel out of there? And is it going to let you fast travel if you're in midair? I've gotten stuck in rocks and stuff before in Fallout or underwater, where it says you can't fast travel because technically it's counting you as being midair because you're like caught in the
hmm
mesh of a rock that's gone wonky or something. So what's going to happen if your character actually gets stuck somewhere and can't move and can't get killed because there's no enemies around? That's what I'm worried about. Is it going to
hmm
be like a slash stuck system? Is there going to be a way for you to just fast travel out? Or am I going to be stuck waiting for an admin, on, day 1 or 2 when they're going to be swarmed as it is by issues coming in to, unstick my character and I'm losing out on, 5, 6, 8 hours of game time because I got
hmm
stuck inside of a rock. Um, and that worry is even more compounded if there are spaces you can load into because you can't normally fast travel when you're indoors. So what if I get stuck, say, inside of a house? Maybe I'm not stuck in air, but what if I get stuck behind a staircase, or what if I get stuck behind a box that I can't jump over, but somehow was able to wander into? That's one that's very realistic.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're gonna come out with that too eventually, right? They're gonna explain it more what's going on.
Mm.
I
I'm
would
not
think.
sure. I mean, that specific worry, it's not one that a lot of people, I think, would think about, but it's one that's
hmm
happened to me in some very bad times. I remember I got stuck in Ark before behind a rock that had spawned in at some point. I had no way to kill myself, and no animal could reach me, so I basically had to sit there and just wait for my character to die over like an hour.
Been there, done that. I
Yeah, so I
fell into a
mean,
crevice or a rock. I couldn't jump out. I couldn't kill myself. I had to sit there and basically till I died out.
exactly.
Yeah.
And this was on the official server, so I couldn't like fly my way out or
hmm
admin command or anything like that. So I was just stuck. And a matter of fact, what was even worse is that was on the aberration map, so you couldn't fly anyway. So no one could really come pick me up. I was just basically stuck there.
Yep.
What else is there? So yeah, that's one that I'm just worried about as far as fast travel and getting stuck inside stuff. Because Bethesda games, you also tend to find ways to get stuck in stuff too. That's one that just is what it is. I got stuck under the stairs in Skyrim yesterday. So I mean, I had a TC. I think I had a TC. I had to toggle collision off in the middle of my stream because I got stuck under stairs.
Uh-huh.
Um, that apparently I could get into or get under, but couldn't get out of. So that was pretty annoying.
Yeah, you're
Um,
gonna find those little glitches no matter what. They're gonna happen. So
yeah, and exactly, and that's what worries me. Is this was a traditional single player game, I could just console command my way out of it. I won't be able to do that online if there's like a quest glitch that like is a game breaking quest glitch to where I can't turn in a quest or can't finish it or something. If I
hmm
get stuck somewhere, anything like that, we're pretty much going to be at the mercy of Bethesda to get us out of that situation or to eventually roll out a patch that fix those issues. And I mean, there are issues with certain quests in Skyrim to this day that, as many times as they've re-released that game, have not been fixed. They just keep
oh
releasing the same build.
yeah, exactly. I
So
mean that you find in 7 Days to Die too. It's like with Alpha 17 coming out, I'm like, I understand it. They're switching engines and all that's gonna be great, but fix some of the broken stuff already. You
yeah,
know,
exactly.
there's some
So
broken stuff that they need to work on first, and before they, I put it like this: it's like throwing, it's like spraying whipped cream on dog poop. If you don't fix the stuff, you still got dog poop underneath. So
that would explain why dog poop turns white, though. That's what people are doing it.
exactly. So
But
yeah,
those are all the major concerns that I've got so far. I mean, those are just the issues that I've had. Again, some of these are just basic, online game concerns. Some of these are just more Fallout concerns in general. Again, coming from, I mean, someone, again, I play all kinds of games, single player and online, but I've also
hmm
been a huge Bethesda fan as far as the Elder Scrolls and Fallout. So again, I've kind of got that shell shock of, holy crap, we're getting a Fallout game that's strictly online. I automatically have mixed feelings about this, but I wanted to
hmm
get the perspective of somebody who just heard about the game and has never played any of the Fallouts beforehand, what it sounded like to you from an outside perspective. And now I know
well,
I've just swarmed you with a bunch of the concerns that I've had about this
oh
game.
no, I like that, and to like I said before, I mean, you've got me perked my interest in actually, going and looking at this game more closely because I had no clue that you could do all this building and co-op stuff and four-man squads and I thought it was just these fetch quest games. Yeah, I'm gonna go do this, run over here, do this, and get this and get that, and then you're done. And you go through a story and
Well, I mean, yeah, there's
I,
going to be some of that, obviously, because it is going to
well,
be online.
sure.
There'll be fetch quests, there'll be raiding quests, there'll be story quests to do. I mean, but, I
But when
mean,
it's all that, or
yeah,
if it's, I don't like cutscenes. I can't stand cutscenes in games. So
yeah, and I'm not sure there's going to be any in this one either. I mean, there
yeah.
might be. I mean, even MMOs oftentimes have cutscenes. I'm not sure how that would play out on here just because of the way they've designed it.
hmm
I mean, if you're in a cutscene, I don't think they'd want you to be getting attacked by somebody. So from what I've seen, there's no actual cutscenes. There are still some visually spectacular things to see, and I know we're getting pretty close to our stream time here, so I'll try to wrap it up a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But there are some pretty cool things to see. I mean, the lighting effects look pretty good. People seem to be freaking out about that. Personally, I've never cared about graphics too much. Um,
Same here.
yeah, I
Yep.
mean, we play 7 Days. I play Space Engineer, so I mean that has never
Yeah,
really been a big deal. If the game plays well, I'm good.
yeah.
But there are certain things in the game you can do, and now's the time I'll talk up the things I'm excited about for the time we got remaining.
Okay.
For the end game, that's one thing I'm always worried about for these never-ending type games. I mean, one of the things that kind of killed 7 Days for me for a little bit is, I mean, yeah, it's never-ending, but after a while, you're in the same loop of just, I mean, because I
Yep.
play it vanilla too, so I mean, I haven't gotten into any of the modding yet, but you're going through it. I mean, it's just all you're doing is preparing for the 7 days, and once you get so far into it, I mean, technically speaking, eventually you get to that point where you can't necessarily keep going, but then you're just like, okay, well, what am I going to do when that happens? The most exciting
hmm
part for me is, those first like 50 or so days when you're really building up stuff. But the second I've
hmm
got all the blueprints and the second I've got all the weapons I want, it's
Then
kind
it
of like,
becomes maintenance. You're just
yeah,
going
you
out
just,
maintenance.
exactly, like, I got
Yep.
no reason to go explore these buildings anymore. I've got all this stuff. I've got all
Exactly.
these weapons at 600. Yeah, all I'm doing is digging up iron and making cement, and that's it. Maybe going
hmm
out to find some brass, and that's all I'm doing. So that kind of would kill it for me. But Fallout 4 does have a end game to it as well, and this is one that you may also like. I'm not going to spoil the story. We don't know too much about the story so far.
Mm-hmm.
All that's been released is that the overseer of your vault, kind of like the boss of the vault, leaves the vault before you because she's got her own quest she's got to do,
Mm-hmm.
and she's got to take over these 3 missile silos. Well, one thing you can do at the end game, you can actually find nuclear missile codes and use those codes to launch a nuclear missile to certain I think I don't know if it's certain places on the map or if it's almost anywhere on the map, but you can basically launch a nuclear missile to different spots on the map. And
Oh, cool.
it destroys everything on the map for a certain amount of time and basically turns that area for a while into an in-game dungeon. So not only will that destroy anybody's buildings that are there, so if you built in a spot that gets bombed, you better move your stuff or just be ready for it to get destroyed, but it will
Mm-hmm.
turn that spot into a in-game zone. The entire area will be highly irradiated, so you got to go in with some, anti-radiation stuff or some power armor or something to combat
Oh, just
that,
to get in the area, yeah.
just to get in the area to reduce those radiation you get, and then that area will then spawn rare resources, stronger creatures, and some of these creatures are you can get like rare items and I think schematics for like there's some schematics for things you can only get in a bombed out area,
Oh,
and
that sounds
each
cool. That's awesome.
area has got its own like basically if you think of all these bomb zones as having 2 versions, it's normal version as you play through it, and then the end game
Mm-hmm.
version which is where the higher level creatures spawn in, where you'll find some in-game schematics at, and where you will find some of your harder to find resources at. Some resources can only be found in these bombed out areas, and
Oh,
you
cool.
personally can only launch from every account. They said you can only launch a nuke once per week. So that right there, even if um, every person on the team, that's on the 4-man squad, launches a nuke at a different spot. I think there was like 40 or so. I got to look up the number again. But with all different bomb zones, I mean, it would take weeks just to actually explore everything. And that's, I mean, just to get to everything once, let alone farm it for what you want to find. But the
Yeah.
end game is that you can actually launch nukes to these areas and then explore those areas for rare weapons and loot and
So
well,
basically,
I mean, how
start over
creatures.
again just by nuking it. You got a whole new map, basically.
Well, basically, now it's only going to stay bombed out for so long. So basically,
Mm-hmm.
all it's really doing is transforming the map temporarily, and then it'll go back to what it was before. So a
That
little
sounds
bit
cool.
of voodoo magic there, I think. I don't know what the bomb zones look like personally. I mean, if there's like buildings and stuff there, I mean, how they
Mm-hmm.
would come back afterwards beyond me. But it might be that the buildings don't get destroyed, but the trees and stuff are gone temporarily. And you actually get a warning when these bombs are coming in, and you actually see the new kits. It's not like you say you launch a bomb and then it just transforms. There is actually a nuke that launches up and then lands on that spot.
Oh,
And you
cool.
can, and that was like the last part of their event that they saw when they went and watched or played the game for 3 hours, is that they had
Mm-hmm.
everybody go back to the beginning. They actually launched a nuke near the first area you go to can get nuked. They launched a nuke at that area and they actually watched the bomb fall and like they watched the mushroom cloud go up and transform that area. They had all the
Nice.
guys run down into it and they all just died almost instantly from that radiation. So it just kind of gives you an idea how well prepared you have to be before you go in there. And that's just the starting
Definitely.
zone.
Oh, cool. So it comes out what October 31st, but
The
November 14th for everybody.
November 14th is the official launch. The beta
Okay.
starts for everybody on October 31st.
And right now it's looking at $60. Do you think it's going to be going on sale for Christmas sale or anything? I'm thinking of Steam now. It's not on Steam.
I mean, it may go on sale at some point. I mean, there may be certain sales for it. I mean, again, I already got mine. I got a special edition for 80. My wife got the regular $60 version one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the only other real contention in the game is, and keep in mind, you can get everything in the game for free, is that there is one microtransaction system in the game. It is completely, and this is what they're telling us, and I'm trusting Bethesda because so far, besides some creative design choices and maybe some of the issues with the modding community, they've been fairly well as far as making games I want. And I mean, so far, I mean, they're good with me. If they
Mm-hmm.
don't lie about this, then they'll stay good. But if they end up lying to us about this, it'll be an issue. But right now, the only microtransactions in the game are going to be cosmetic only. And it's going to
Awesome.
be a secondary currency, the premium currency called Atom. But you can also earn Atom in game too. So that's a big thing. You can actually earn it in game, or you can actually buy the stuff for the cosmetic items, and then all that money that they make from microtransaction is going to go for the DLCs and updates to the game, which are going to be free for all the players. So they're going to fund it with the microtransactions, which are cosmetic only. Now, I tend to be against microtransactions in a premium game. If it's going to be done, I don't mind it being like this, especially when you can earn them in game. We'll see how easy it is to earn the currency in game before I really make a judgment on that one, but so far it's not bad. Like a game like Warframe, I don't mind. It's completely free to play. You can earn all the stuff from other players. I mean, the system they have there is fun to me, and they don't even have. I mean, you can actually buy the weapons and frames you want in that game, but the way they've balanced it over the years, it is fairly good. I mean, nothing's too crazy price-wise. Like, if there's a Warframe I want, I drop $2 and I get, the brand new Warframe that just came out. And the way most of them are balanced, I mean, most of them, they've got weaknesses. I mean, there's some that are obviously better at doing certain stuff than others, but for the most part, there's nothing game-breaking. And again, the game is free, and you can still actually earn the premium currency in-game because you can actually trade for that currency with other players. There's an actual economy in game running around the currency platinum. Now, this is how
that Path of Exile.
Yeah, so if this is how if this is how Fallout 76 ends up being, you can earn a good amount of Atom in game. You can build up for a week or two, buy an item that looks cool, like, a skin for something that, sounds good. We'll see what all cosmetics are available. We'll see if they hoard all the good or best looking things for microtransaction only. We'll see how that works. I'll reserve judgments. So we haven't had any glimpse of what that system looks like yet. This is just what they're telling us. So we don't know how much Atom you're going to earn. We don't know how much it's going to cost. We'll see. I think if they do this right and they don't try to screw over the players with, tons of microtransactions that just cost ungodly amounts, I think they'll do really well. I mean, when games do that and it's done well without being too scummy, I mean, I'll support it just to kind of fund that myself. I mean, I've dropped a couple $100 on Warframe, and I haven't really had a need to. But, I mean, there's been plenty of stuff I wanted to get. I went ahead and dropped some money on it. I got some of the stuff without having to grind as much. I've gotten other stuff from other players that you can't get without grinding a ton. I mean, it's done in the right way. I'll support it. If it's not,
that's the way it should be done. It shouldn't be that pay-to-win kind of crap.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the big thing that they're touting, is that it's not going to be pay-to-win. You can't buy any weapons. It's only, their whole thing is that it's cosmetic only. We'll see. I'm still, seriously, I can't even say on the fence. I don't like that they're doing it, but we'll see how it's implemented. We'll see. And in any premium game, I don't like having microtransactions in it, period, save for DLC, like story-based DLC later on. Exactly. We'll see how this works out.
That's awesome. Well, I am looking forward to this, definitely. I might actually, I'm definitely going to look more research into it about the game, but I'm just hesitant about I've never spent $60 for a game in my life, so we'll see.
Really? Well, yeah. Well, I can't say I haven't. I mean, I've been doing that for years, but
I mean, even Star Citizen, I got the ship for free because a buddy of mine bought a package and he gave me the lesser of the two ships. I'm not going to use it here. You can have it. So that's the only way I got that. So,
but I mean, yeah, I mean, like I said, I just wanted to get an outside perspective, and I mean, the fact that you're excited and some of these things that seem to be Fallout community specific. I mean, I didn't expect you to really freak out about some of the things that the community in general would freak out about. Like I said, things like level requirements for using items. That's like a standard, online game practice. I mean, you need to be a certain level to use certain weapons, or you might just get lucky, funds, or not necessarily get lucky. You could basically just have your, maxed out level buddy, give you all the best stuff in the game when you start off, and then you've really got none to work for. Or you can just take out any other player around you, in the starting areas in PvP without any problem. That's fairly standard practice. So that's one that I kind of was like, again, people saying that it was easier to do some of the areas, even though it could be done single, just saying that it would definitely be easier having somebody else around. That is still a comment that is ringing around in my head like, well, I'm not sure if that was supposed to have been a complaint or just kind of a statement of fact that you should already know, and if that be the case, why are you saying it? Like, that's not one I understand them even saying. But having your outside perspective, I mean, the fact you're excited about it in any capacity is kind of like, okay, well, I think the concerns around Fallout 76 right now are definitely more hardcore community based than it as a game based.
Yeah, well, it definitely perked my interest in it to look more into it and see about it.
And again, I know this is just your initial impression, so I mean, yeah, look
Yeah.
more into it and see if it. I mean, just looking at
Now
what's
you're gonna
there.
be after the 14th. Are you gonna be streaming it? And
Oh, I've already taken off work for 3 days. I'll be streaming it all for like 5 days straight.
Okay. Well, definitely check it out for sure.
Yeah.
Because I don't have anything for my winter lineup here for my stream yet. I know I'm supposed to stream with LJ here at 9 o'clock. The Raft with its update. Just play around with that a little bit. And
Oh, the Raft updated? Yeah, good stuff.
yeah, the Raft updated today, actually this afternoon.
That'd be fun to check
It's
out.
got more content and stuff in it apparently, and they had one update for a puffer fish, but I never got back into it. But we're gonna do that tonight, and then what's the other one coming out?
The only other big update, or I got you technically as a DLC, is I'm waiting for that Subnautica DLC to come out.
Oh yeah, I'd play Subnautica, but I wouldn't play it. I have a phobia of dark water, so that just nope, can't do it.
Oh yeah, so do I.
Same
That's
with, like,
one of the reasons I played it. Is that game legitimately scares the crap out of me, even though I
Yeah.
played it like at least a couple hundred hours. It's fun as hell just because of that, and there are definitely some jump scares in there.
And
That
same with that what's that survival one in the Pacific there? I can't remember what it's called.
I don't know. I know there's another Subnautica like-ish game where you're out. No, there's a couple water-based games like that.
Yeah, well, I do like Green Hell. I love that series. That's definitely one you should look into. It's a single player one, but it's fun as hell.
Green
It's
Hell?
So much fun. Green Hell.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check that one out.
It's a fun little survival game.
Yeah, but all right. I know we got to get ready for our various streams here. So, again, thanks for coming by, everybody. This was Jommi from is it Just Playing Jommi or Jommi Just Playing? I just type in Jommi and I found you. Yeah, Jommi.
Just playing.
That's right. I'll link your channel down in the description. Again, thanks for coming by. Hope we can do this again. But yeah, definitely check it out. I mean, if you're interested, I mean, I'd be definitely interested to get your perspective on it, looking into it a little bit, and then seeing if you still kind of have the same thing, if it makes you a little wary looking at it, looking at some of the concerns. Because most of the concerns are ones that I've kind of like brought up already. I mean, some of the stuff has been kind of speculation about what items are in the game, or if this is going to be back, or a big portion of it's just been like lore-based stuff. Like what I explained earlier about there being no humans in the area when technically there should be. So that's been what a lot of the concern has been about. It's just
take
lore.
a look at it. I will definitely take a look at it. It sounds a lot more up my alley now that you explained it the way that you did. I appreciate it and I'm honored. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming. I'm glad you agreed to do it.
Not a problem.
All
right, brother.
All right.
Thank you again.
Yep, thank you. I'll see you later.
All right, brother.
Bye.